Where to begin? The beginning. Hello and welcome, beautiful people of the world. My name is Hex Floof. You can call me Hex or Mel. Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. Okay, so I figured that y'all really don't know anything about my past and how I got to this point, except for like the minuscule little bits and bobs of like vlogs I've done the past like what, 2 or 3 years. But you don't know the whole context. And if you didn't know, today is June 3rd, 2026. It is the summer and I'm ready to go on a cut. Cut means that I'm just looking to lose some body fat over the summer. But I want to tell you guys how I got to this point, where I'm at right now, what's led up to this. But I'd like to tell y'all what has led me to this point in my life. And I really haven't thought about it too much, like the past couple years, of where I came from. I've been trying to forget all the bad I went through while being a fat kid growing up. When it turns out to heal, I kind of need to dig in that a little bit more, I think, for myself personally. I want to take care of every version of myself that never got the care they needed. Let's try not to cry, even though I'm pretty sure I am. Because just thinking about it. But, you know, this video, I just want to go through my timeline, my weight timeline, just giving you a little bit of my background. You can know a bit more about me. Okay, without further ado, I was born in 1994. It was a snowstorm. I was born during a snowstorm in Virginia, by the beach. If I'm looking down, it's because, oh my god. Do I always hit myself in my videos? I don't understand. I have it all written down, so. By the time I was 4 or 5 years old, 1998 to 1999, I started to develop being a chunky kid, you know. 4 or 5, you can kind of start telling if you're gonna, you know, be a chubby baby, like more than just a chubby baby, you know. I remember my mom saying around this time that I got shots. And then I have this scar on my elbow. I don't know if you guys can tell. It always gets dry and gross looking. I'm so sorry. Not really. But I had an infection in my elbow when I was like 2 years old. And my mom says that they gave me shots and that messed my system up and made me gain weight. Which I'm pretty sure I gained weight because she was feeding me Yoo-Hoos and Chef Boyardee raviolis every day. Because I definitely remember those two things being the go-to, you know. Jumping forward a bit to 2002, about 8 years old. At this point, I was a chubby kid. I was put on my first diet by my pediatrician, kids doctor. And it was basically the Atkins diet. It was no sugar, no breads, nothing artificial. And I was 8 years old. I remember going strong the first week and then weighing myself, and then my grandma saying I could have lost more. And then I just kind of folded. I was a kid on a super restrictive diet and no one else was around me. So how did they expect me to succeed? I have no idea. Also very unhealthy, especially for a kid. Jumping a bit more forward that I can remember is 2006. I was 12 years old. At this point, I was becoming obsessed with diets and any sort of little pamphlets that were like, oh, lose 20 pounds in 1 month or something like that. My grandma would always get those things in the mail. And I remember getting on the scale and it saying 220 pounds when I was 12 years old. And I remember I was in like a size 20 jeans. And I had 2 pair of size 18 little cargo pants pinned to my wall as motivation. Yeah. Also, around that time period, I was being verbally and physically abused by my mom for my size and my habits and sneaking food, etc. I don't want to get into the details of that. Alrighty. So many diets. And then we go forward to 2011, 16, 17-year-old me. This is the point my parents started putting money into my weight loss and getting the help of the church we were going to at the time. And all the mamas there knew about, of course, how big I was and wanted to help. Not in the most helpful ways, per se. Like, I had this one friend, I used to go to their house all the time. It was on a farm, on a hill. And I know their mom meant well, but at the time it really hurt. Because my friend, she was skinny, she was fit, she was like the perfect daughter, you know. Also being the pastor's daughter, you know, basically was like the perfect child of the whole place. So talented and amazing, which she is. Not going to bash her whatsoever, but that's who I was compared to most of the time. But her mom would be like, you should get what she gets. Look at her plate and get what she gets, because she makes healthy choices. Just comments like that on a regular basis, probably weekly, when it comes to the church and being over at my church friends' houses. So that was lovely. But the thing is that these church people had relatives. This one relative that was like an herbalist, and I had a meeting with him at 16 years old. He put me on, I believe it was over 16 supplements. I was 16 years old. I was put on over 15, 16 supplements. I took them every morning, every night for a month, and I lost 15 pounds. It was awful, and I really tried my best to continue, but they were gross. They were disgusting, and I didn't like it. So I was introduced to something else, and they were HCG drops. They were little drops, super bitter tasting. You put them under your tongue and hold them there. And the idea is that it would help dissolve the fat. I don't remember exactly what it did. I'll look it up and put information about HCG drops around me, but I'm kind of happy I forgot about those because they were not fun. And also being on them, you could still only eat 3 times a day. You could only have 2 meat portions, 2 fruits, and 2 vegetables every day. And just coffee and tea. I was 16. With the HCG drops and the extreme diet that I was on for it, I did lose 45 pounds. So I went from, like, I think when I started the HCG drops at age 16, I was 305 pounds. So I went down to like 260 right before my junior year of high school. 2012, I was 17, 18 years old. I ended up getting in a relationship in high school with a boy. The whole situation was really toxic, and he ended up telling me that, you know, he loved me, and I stopped taking HCG drops because my mom and dad could no longer afford them, or didn't want to afford them. It wasn't as much of a priority to them as other coping mechanisms that they were shoveling their money into. Not us kids, you know, of course not. But I ended up gaining all that weight back, plus some. And at the time I didn't know it, but right before my boyfriend in high school broke up with me a couple years later, He told me that he never wanted to help me lose weight because he was afraid that I would get skinny and beautiful and leave him for someone else. But yeah, that was when he broke up with me in 2014. I was 20 years old. He cheated on me and then left me for someone he found at his workplace. But around that time, I got up to 360 pounds. During the breakup, I've realized during really stressful moments in my life, I get really depressed. And thankfully, not thankfully, but thankfully, not thankfully, but thankfully, when I'm really depressed, I don't eat. So it's not like I binge myself when I'm depressed or like that vastly traumatically depressed. I don't binge myself, but I would starve myself. So in the first month, I lost about 20 to 25 pounds just because I wasn't taking care of myself. So I was like 340 pounds by the end of that bit in life. Jumping way forward, way forward. We're jumping 6 years to 2020. So 2014 to 2020, that 6-year window is when I moved to Chicago, met my now husband, and we went through some, relationships, crazy up and downs, In the process, I ended up getting to the worst of the worst for myself. By 2020, I got to my heaviest at 442 pounds, 0.2, recorded. I believe my heaviest was like 450 pounds because I tried to start losing weight a month before I actually weighed myself. That was my breaking point. When COVID hit, there's a couple of things that were like my breaking point, like my last straw, if you want to call it that. It was a bunch of stuff on top of each other. The physical of being 450 pounds. I could not work for more than 4 hours on my feet. My feet would swell up. I would wake up with part of my left leg numb. I had lack of movement. I had to have my husband physically help me push off the couch to get up. A couple other really alarming things was my tummy fat area was starting to feel hard. Like I could physically push my fingers, like if it was like I would, it's so hard to describe. Here, I'll see if I can. So imagine this as my stomach, right? But it's hard. Like I would put my finger in my stomach, and instead of it going back down, it would hold the concave of my finger being pushed inside the flesh. And I believe that was the first couple signs of lymphedema or something in that realm, which could create blood clots, which could create a lot of really bad stuff. Blood infections, tissue infections. Bad. And probably one of the most embarrassing things when I was at that heavy point, which again, I'm not going into super detail right now. If you guys want to, I can later on in any portion of my life, if you'd like to know. Yeah, if you'd like to know, just let me know. It became really difficult for me to wipe myself after I used the bathroom. Like, I was lucky in my apartment that we had kind of like a mid-rise sink. I could lean my hand against and push on it to give me some leverage so I could reach. And if I was in a public restroom and had to do number 2, I had to pray to God that I could lean up against the wall hard enough so it would stretch my arm so I could reach to wipe myself. Or if it was a stall, God forbid, I leaned so hard against the side of the stall that the door would open, that was a couple things that I was really afraid of, that I had to go through a lot of the time at my heaviest. Not to mention how people treated me, not to mention how clothes fitted me, not to mention the awful mental health that I was in was like garbage. I was treating people awful. I was hurting the people that I cared about the most. And then somehow along the way, I lost people that I really cared about. I screwed up relationships. I self-sabotaged. So yeah, COVID hit, and it was kind of like my oh shit. And then the Black Lives Matter movement was happening, and the protests and everything, very close to home for me, where I was living at the time. And I was getting paranoid and scared. Being 450 pounds, I'm like, if shit was to hit the fan, I wouldn't have made it. I went through all the different scenarios of trying to survive at 450 pounds. Like zombie apocalypse, people like looting or like burglary, like anything and everything that was going on back then. I was like, I could not survive any of this crap. I could not defend myself. I cannot defend anybody else. I cannot protect the puppy I got. That when I got Teddy was 2020. He was my little COVID baby. We got him in July of 2020. So yeah, the switch, it flipped. So thank God. So the way I started losing weight in 2020, summer of 2020. Summer of 2020 is when I turned my crap around. How I started was YouTube. I went to YouTube to start looking for inspiration, for motivation, for advice, because I was so tired of being told to go on certain diets or to take certain supplements or to not eat certain things, or like, oh, you would definitely lose weight if you just cut out gluten, or if you just cut out sugar and altogether, and blah 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 blah. No. None of that shit ever worked for me. Never. Ever, never, ever, ever, never, ever. It always made me go backwards. And probably even trip and fall down a fucking hole on top of that. I wanted something that I could continue for years if needed. That I can live by and be happy with. You know? Like, this is... They call it a lifestyle change. And it literally is a lifestyle change. You have to change your life, not just for a couple months, not just for a year. They're lifelong choices so you can live a longer life. Does that make sense? I did not want quick fixes anymore. I did not want to be told that it was going to be easy anymore. I didn't want any more bullshit. So, within time, I came up with the 3 words that I go by that has been helping me. Is maintainable. You maintain it. You can maintain, keep it, and it be fine. Just maintain. Maintainable, sustainable, like affordable is part of sustainable. Something that you can stick to, and your budget can kind of like be flexible with. The time of year, such as that, sustainable. Like, you should be able to not have such a hard time keeping it consistent. So something sustainable for you, and it can gradually get more sustainable. Like you can continue. No, I won't get into that. Maintainable, sustainable. Last one is realistic. We gotta be realistic. It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be rainbows and butterflies the whole time. It's not gonna feel like it. I promise you. It's gonna be rough. And that's what I needed. I needed the truth. I needed something that was like for real, that was going to last me forever. So I went on YouTube. 2 YouTubers I found first that helped me with the first part of my journey. One, I'm gonna put photos up of them because I love them that much. And I feel like y'all should go watch their content, even if it's the old videos that I watched back in 2020. First we have Jordan Shrinks. She's really freaking cool, and she's an alternative baddie, and she's from Canada. And then we also have Obese to Beast. And it's funny because Jordan Shrinks and Obese to Beast know each other, which is cool. He's very cool. He's very cool. But with those two, I learned a little bit and what not to do, because both of them had part of their journeys where they lost the weight, but not in really a maintainable, sustainable way. And they let the people know that, hey, this is not the way you should be doing it. I shouldn't have done it this way, but I did, so I'm gonna let you know so you don't make the same mistake I did, kind of thing, you know? But with them, it helped me learn that restricting myself down to 1,000 calories or what the crap type of number per day was not the way to go. And letting go of the foods you love shouldn't be a thing. No food is bad food. There's just food that has more macronutrients than others. It's up to you and your goals on what you choose to put in your mouth hole. I like to think of it as a Tetris box. You have so much space for the day. You choose what shapes of what you put in there for your day. And you still need to try to make sure you're getting what you believe you need, like macro-wise. Like macros are like protein or fiber or calcium or vitamin D, fish oils, what the crap your goals are, you know. I feel like everyone should have a decent amount of protein in their day and a decent amount of fiber, so you can have energy for your body to move and then energy for your body to poop. But yeah, so that's what I learned the first like year or two. Fast forward to 2022, I got down to 360 pounds. Yeah, so basically at that point I lost 90 pounds. 90 pounds on just changing the way I ate slightly, and also increased my activity level slightly. Every day a little bit better. Yes. But through the year of 2022, I basically like maintained / stagnated because I was working a lot. I was a general manager for a place in the mall. But I did it because it was an opportunity and I learned from it. And I know I never kind of want to do that again. Long story short. I was like 350s at that point. 350, 360s. 2023, I was 29 years old. I quit my job. I started going to the gym. This is when I started watching my fitness people. My gym people. Don't look at this one. My finger is gone. But my mommy and daddy of fitness is Lean Beef Patty. She's a goddess. We love her here. And then the dad of the fitness industry always telling us to do our cardio, Sam Sulek. With those two people in my roster, and I started consuming their content, They showed me that it's okay to be beginner and it's okay to start a couple days a week. You don't have to go to the gym 5 days off the bat, 6 days off the bat, for 2 hours off the bat. Just start somewhere. Make a day or two for gym. And when you start feeling like you maybe want to go a little bit more, then add another day. Simple as that. Anyways, start going to the gym. I told my friends that I worked with, and that became my best friends after work. After that, I was like, you know, I want to be a gym rat by next summer. You see this? You see these people? You like, look how cool they are. Look how neat it is. Like, I was like, at that point, I lost, yeah, like about 100 pounds on my own. At that point, just through like small changes in my eating habits and my moving habits. And I was like, I think I can do it. Like, even if I go and do a couple little weights, like, over time, I'll get it. And I told my husband, Paco, that I want to start going to the gym regularly. And this was October of 2023 when we just decided to start going consistently. And I remember him looking at me, raising his eyebrows. He was like, we gonna stay consistent? Like, we gonna do this? And I'm like, I'm going. We're doing this. I'm locked in. Like, if there was 2 switches, you know, the 2 switches beside of each other, one was flipped. This was the second switch that flipped my gym journey, which is different than food journey to me. To me, gym and food, 2 different entities. Yes, they can kind of coerce and work together, but they're 2 different entities, okay? They might slightly, but they're 2 different entities. Anyways, my fucking camera's gonna die already. What the crap? Anyways. 2024, 30 years old in March. I got down to 320 pounds. So in the time between October of 2023 to let's say February of 2024, I lost, give or take, 30 pounds thanks to the gym and the changes I was making in my diet, and I decided to quit my job. And going into 2024, I was 30 years old. I was starting to see an actual doctor on a regular basis for my health. Oh my gosh. And she was telling me about GLP-1s because I told her about my journey and how much weight I've lost up to that point. And she was telling me how good of a candidate I would be for Zepbound, which is a GLP-1. I was really hesitant for a couple months because she did bring it up to me the December before, but I agreed to start taking Zepbound. It was like February, March of 2024. I believe Zepbound is a tool to use with changes in your habits, and exercise is not a cure-all, because if you treat it as a cure-all and you're saving grace, then once you get off of it, you're gonna gain all that weight back. You're gonna gain it all back, just like all those other little baby diets. If you do not change up here, it's only temporary then. During that time, I did get a part-time job. It was at a place I really, really enjoyed. I learned so much there. It was in the fitness industry spectrum of work. It was part-time. Oh my gosh. I love y'all. You know who I'm talking about. I loved you all. It was my first in-town job of Chicago. So yeah, my journey on Zepbound, I was on Zepbound for a total of 18 months, something like that. It was like a year and a half I was on Zepbound. I went from the starting dose, 2.5 milligrams, to the big daddy dose, 15 milligrams. I went through everything, all the side effects, all the gross ass burping, all the gross diarrhea, all the queasiness, all the sleepiness. Not all butterflies and rainbows, that's for sure. But I was working out and trying to make sure I fed myself, because that medicine makes you feel sick. That's why you don't want to eat anything. That's why you lose weight, because you don't want to eat anything because you feel sick. And you feel like if you eat something, it's going to make you feel sick. I had some safety foods like chicken, sausage, and whatnot. That was just fine. I was still able to eat some stuff that I wanted, of course. I was in a balance. I still ate McDonald's every once in a while, even if it was like one burger. But while I was on Zepbound weight, I went from 320 pounds to my lowest was 196. I had to get off Zepbound. It was not voluntarily. My husband's insurance changed at work and it magically no longer covered it. So I had to come off of it cold turkey, which you're supposed to actually like wean yourself down. So December of 2025 is when I came off of Zepbound and also my antidepressant, which is fine because it was Prozac and it made my tummy feel bad. And it gave me really weird hot flashes in my face. Today is June of 2026. I have been off of Zepbound for 6 months now, basically, give or take. My last dose was December 3rd of last year. The first few months were kind of jarring when it came to readjusting, since I didn't have any way to wean myself off of this Zepbound medication. I feel a little sad. Very emotional time. It's really weird feeling my appetite go from nothingness to ravenous feeling, especially when I was like about to start my period. Like, that was crazy. So I had to remind myself all the stuff I've learned the past 6 years with balance, being maintainable, sustainable, and realistic with myself. Because when you feel sick, you don't think about it too much because you're not thinking about it. You know, if you're not thinking about it, you're not thinking about it. And when you start thinking about it again, I guess it's that food noise on top of like not feeling sick anymore. It was difficult because I knew what counting calories looked like, because we were doing like counting calories to like make sure I was eating enough type of thing. But now I needed to count calories to make sure I wasn't eating too much, because yeah, that is a thing. Overeating is a thing, especially coming off of GLP-1. It's something you need to like mentally prepare yourself, especially if you're someone that has history of an ED in that way. I'm not advocating for EDs. I'm saying that if you had one before you took your GLP-1, it's going to come back up and you're going to have to figure out how to navigate that. Like I said, GLP-1s are not a quick fix unless you want to be taking it for the rest of your life and feel like that for the rest of your life. I'm glad I stopped taking my Zepbound, or I had to stop taking my Zepbound. My lightest on Zepbound was 196. And as of yesterday, here's the clip. Of course, I'm a little emotional, like always. So, enjoy. Oh, man, I'm so nervous. I have not weighed myself since before C2E2, which was like mid-March. Today is June 1st, 2026. Last time I weighed myself, I believe I was like 212 pounds. I've been off my GLP-1 since December of last year, so it's been a big adjustment. Yeah. Okay. I just gotta see where I'm at to start. I don't know, I'm gonna cry. I've worked so hard to get where I'm at. And I know I haven't gained like a shit ton of weight. Because I see all these other people lose all their weight and then they gain it all back. And that's when they decide to like, oh shit, I gotta change again. And I'm so scared to even gain like 20 pounds. But it's okay. We'll get through it. It's not awful. I can still do all the stuff. I can still do all the stuff that I wanted to do to, you know, as my goals to lose weight. I want to be stronger, but I also don't want to be over 200 pounds. That's me personally. I'm not talking about anybody else. If you're happy with being 200 plus pounds, fuck yeah, you know? But for me, I just want to be under 200. Ideally, you know? So, I'm just gonna weigh myself. I know I'm not under 200 right now. That's for sure. I don't know. I don't completely understand why this is so difficult for me. So if you're asking me for more like explanations and stuff, I'm not quite sure. But I know it's just a number. I am getting stronger. I am getting more healthy. And that's what fucking matters. The number's just been such a huge thing for me since I was like teeny tiny. At least I'm not in the denial stage anymore about it. Okay, I have to weigh myself. I haven't drank any water. I went to the bathroom. I woke up maybe like 40 minutes ago, something like that. I've just been laying in bed scrolling and shit, so yeah.
Hello.
I have the hello still.
It's ready.
Okay.
£223.2 pounds.
Okay. 223.2 pounds. That's my weight as of right now, June 1st. We'll see how the rest of the summer goes for my cut. Goodbye. Yeah. So yeah, I am 223 pounds now. That means I have roughly gained about, what, 25 pounds since December, which is fine. It's known to gain a little bit of weight back. It's not like I gained like 50 plus pounds back within 6 months. I've only gained 20 and 20 plus pounds with the crap ever. I'm gonna say 20. I round, okay? I round down. So yeah, I gained about 20 pounds, which is fine. But seeing that one on that scale brought me so much happiness and peace for myself. And I kind of want to get back there personally. I would like to get back in the 190s by the end of summer. And that's kind of why I'm making this video. So you have an idea of the lore. We're no longer on GLP-1s. Have not been for 6 months. We have gained 20-ish pounds, which is fine. And it's basically expected, especially if you've lost like a huge amount of weight with it. Because with the GLP-1, how much did I lose? So I lost 124 pounds while on Zepbound. Altogether, let me see, I'm gonna do 450. minus 320. So I lost 130 pounds naturally before I started Zepbound. And the 130 plus the one, what was it, 124? I lost a total of 254 pounds. Now, given I've gained like 25 pounds, I've now have went back to have lost only 229 pounds. Oh my god, only 229 pounds. Sorry, I had to do that to myself. But yeah, so I'm wanting to get back in the 190s by August, September. Would be cool. I'm gonna lock in this summer. I'm gonna still be maintaining, sustaining, and being realistic about it. But I am going to count my calories. I am going to prioritize my macros. My plans for the summer, I want to have some adventures. I want to go swimming. I want to go hiking. I want to go to the creek. I want to eat a rotisserie chicken in the water. I just want to be a gremlin girl during the summer. My calories, what app do I use? I'm not sponsored, but I use the free version of My Net Diary app. It has a whole barcode thing. You can put recipes in and type of thing. You don't have to pay for that crap. Yeah. Hopefully I didn't trauma dump too much on you guys. Alrighty, y'all. I hope you have a wonderful summer. Don't forget to make yourself a priority. Your safety and well-being is important. And so is having a long, happy life. You are capable. Stop making fucking excuses. We got this. Anyways, I hope you liked the video. And if you didn't, I hope you have a wonderful day regardless. Peace. Bye.